Start your day the joyful way. It's your weekday morning talk show inviting you to start your day with a triple shot of good vibes. And now here's your host, the queen of joy herself, Jessica Dugas. Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Yes, it is me, Jessica Dugas, and I still know what day it is today. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm glad I set some of y'all straight that it was Tuesday yesterday. So just in case you forgot, since yesterday, it is Wednesday today. It is Wednesday today. Okay. All right. We're really glad to have you here today. I am very excited because we should be having a co-host today. Farron Dozier is coming on in a little while, and I'm very thrilled because the next couple of days I have a fabulous co-host every day, which I'm really excited about. So can't wait for that. And it's always good for me to hear other perspectives, hear what people are doing, here, of course, hearing what other people are bringing, but what's bringing them joy in their lives. I have some news for you this morning in case you didn't watch My Way last night, which, by the way, please go back and watch the replay. My Way is, the show that I do with entrepreneurs, having conversations with them about doing business their way. How are they doing that? What does that look like? And last night we had a really, really powerful conversation with Vince Cortez, who just so powerful, you guys, so powerful. He shared some really fun, amazing stories, and then shared about how he had been diagnosed with renal cancer, and that changed everything for him. And they were like, look, you've got like 30 days. You're going to probably, just die. That's what they were telling him. And the conversation was just so good. So good. So please go back and watch My Way from last night. But I shared in the beginning of the show, because I couldn't hold it in until this morning. I told you guys we sold our house. We're closing a week from Monday and moving back to my hometown in Connecticut. And I'm really excited because we had been looking for a house, and yesterday we got a house right before I went on my way. So I was really excited, and we were waiting on it. We had toured the house and knew we were going to get an answer. And I was so nervous that I would be like live on the show and get a message saying, you didn't get it, like in the middle of the show. Then I'd be crying in the middle of My Way and all of that. So very thankful, very, very thankful that we found a place, and I'm going home, you guys. I'm going home. Like I can't even tell you the level of joy that I'm experiencing. And then to add amazingness to everything, it was the new moon last night, so I was feeling good about getting the house and everything. So I had gone into our Discord community, which, you guys, it's free. You can go to bit.ly/Discord breakthrough. And I was like, I'm gonna do some cards for people. So I was doing some cards, and then I was like, let's just do a new moon circle. So I used to host new moon circles all the time. And the kind of funny thing about all of that is that, the woo-woo people in my life kind of know what that entails. And then other people are like, so what is that? And I've decided from here on out, I'm calling it naked pizza. That's what I'm calling it from here on out. Just to get people's wheels turning in just the right kind of way. So, but listen, the new moon is just about envisioning what you want in your life, about getting clear about, doing the vision board, the envisioning, the picturing what you want, and really like going all in and feeling it. Like that is what the new moon energy is all about. And so we had a little circle last night, impromptu, which it felt so good to kind of do it again. And, it's not as naked pizza as you might think it would be. It's just not. So we had some fun with that, and just, did a little bit of praying together and manifesting together, and like, okay, feeling into what are we going to do, and what's the next month going to look like. And when I was getting emotional because I'm like, okay, I'm going home, selling our house, going home, doing the thing And I said, I'm really focusing on the healing aspect of my journey now, because that's such a huge thing. I felt like for the last 12 years of being here that I just haven't been able to get grounded and really get that peaceful feeling that I've been looking for. And as much as we might, it's time to move on when you've done all of that internal work and it's like you're still uncomfortable, like you just can't get grounded. So really excited, really, really excited. I want to say hi to a friend really quickly before we bring Farron on for the next segment, and also say hey to Brittany out there. Happy hump day, my friend. It's good to see you. Yes, we are so excited. Have a house. And I'm so thrilled because we have a big back deck for entertaining, and there will be, the food and entertaining happening, which we're thrilled about. So must come visit. Okay. All right. Let's say hello to our friend Jason really quickly this morning and see what's bringing him joy today before we say hi to Farron. Good morning, Jason.
Hello.
How are you this morning?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am good, and I am thrilled to see you again this morning. How has your day program been going?
Great.
Very good.
I'm going. I'm going to Wonderland. I'm going to Canada's Wonderland today.
You're going to Canada's Wonderland. I want to come. Can I can I get a ride all the way down here in Alabama? Can I?
You're
Are
funny. You're
you
so funny.
all the rides? Are you excited about that?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't, it's been a long time since I've been on a roller coaster, Jason. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. It might
No,
not be
it's
good.
fun. No, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
It's fun. Well, what's bringing you joy today, Jason?
Lifestyle.
Your lifestyle. I love it.
Yeah. You can say that. My lifestyle.
Yeah. I love it. You're always so confident about your life and the things that are going on and about yourself. And I love that about you, Jason. And I love getting a chance to see your smiling face. And I hope you have a good time at Canada's Wonderland today. And there was some stuff going on with hockey lately, wasn't there?
Yes, there was.
What happened?
The
Because
Colorado.
I don't know.
The Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm glad to know that. We stopped paying attention when the Leafs were out.
Yes. Definitely. The Leafs were out a long time ago, and they gave their shot, and they got Tampa gave their shot, and they wanted to score, and apparently the team wanted the actual cup. So
Yeah.
you never know what will bring. You never know what they will bring you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Very true. Very true. Well, I'm glad to see your face again, Jason. I have to get ready to bring Farron on for the next segment, but I hope you have a fun day today and fill us in tomorrow how your day went.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, I will.
All right. I'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye. All right, you guys, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with the fabulous Farron Dozier. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Maybe? Yeah, we'll be right back.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I am spoiled the next 3 days, you guys. I have 3 very handsome co-hosts the next 3 days, and really excited about that. Our guest today, our co-host today, is the fabulous Farron Dozier. He is in radio himself. He is a sickle cell warrior. He is a veteran. He has been speaking a lot lately about the parent-child relationship, and I'm just excited to wrap with him this morning about all of the things. So without further ado, let's welcome Farron to the show. Good morning, Farron.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good. It's early as hell where you are, right?
It's 5 about 5:13.
Yeah. It's listen. I always give an extra round of applause for my Pacific Coast people who come on the show because it's early.
Oh yes,
it's early, but I'm glad you're here. And I'm always, ever since I met you a while back, and you were on the Breakthrough Show and everything, I love seeing your posts and the things that you talk about. And it seems like you come in and you're fearless with these things that you're sharing. Do you ever feel afraid to be like, oh God, should I push that button?
You know what? Because it's social media sometimes, and it's Facebook, you have to understand sometimes how it's gonna land for the other person. Like, it sounds good in my head, but then when I drop it, it's like, that might. But you know what? But because I want to hear what people think. Like, you want to hear and figure out what are people's thoughts. Like, where do they get those thoughts from? So you have to. Not, you don't have to, but you want to trigger a conversation. Not that it's a right or wrong, good or bad, but I want to hear, like, what's your point of view on that? Like, what is your perspective? What's your perception? Like, what is that? So I do it. I do it sometimes on purpose.
I love that though. And it really does trigger things in people sometimes, because I think the challenging thing is I'm very similar to you. I want to hear all sides of the coin, and I may not agree with you, but I'm such a people watcher. I want to know, like, what people are thinking, what makes you tick, how can we find something common ground to get along and not divide us any further. But when you do that, I think people expect you to be on the defense, so they start on the defense, and that's the frustrating part for me.
Well, I have to catch myself, because even though I've done some work, sometimes I want to be right about my view. And that's the practice that I get, because then you get to, again, because there's things that goes on in the backgrounds of our subconscious mind that come out when we see stuff or hear something that's like an automatic response. And so I do that still. So I'm not perfect, but so I have to catch myself at times where I post something or I want to ask a question, and then I respond to reinforce that I'm right, and that could send that person off to be there on their defense, right? And now becomes a disagreement. So I have to catch myself sometimes and just change a word or two, or acknowledge the person first, because acknowledging the person allows them to get their experience being validated. You don't have to agree with the person, but if you acknowledge, okay, where did you get that from, and let them explain themselves. Well, no wonder. So then now your dialogue shifts.
Yeah. And sometimes that validation works, and sometimes people are like, nah, I still want to be right.
Hey, I'm right, you're wrong. It's good, it's bad. I win, you lose. What's in it for you? What's in it for him? Like, I don't trust you. Like, all that stuff comes up. But if you're the one creating that conversation, then you've got to understand what's possible. What could happen in that. It could go to the left easy.
Yeah. With everything, I feel like we have been like in, I don't know where, the last 3 years. Just so much going on around the whole world. How do you maintain a level of groundedness or find your joy when everything seems to be hitting the fan?
I don't.
I mean, listen, I'm glad you're honest here this morning.
I don't. It is joy. Like some people think joy is like, oh, you do it, you do joy and you'll be fine. Nah, like you've got to generate that joy. Like every moment of the day, you've got to generate that from within. Now, if I look to stuff outside of me that's bringing me joy, I mean that's okay. But if I
Right.
can't get to that joy, then what? Do I suffer? So it's like having to recognize that comes from within, and it doesn't have to be some big event or this
Right.
big thing. It could be some little thing that brings that happiness. And
Mm,
so learning to control, not control, but manage my thoughts, because
yeah.
that's where it's gonna come from anyway.
Right.
I could be experiencing joy right now, and then the thought comes in like, oh,
Yeah.
and then I'm right back into that, oh well, woe is me, and then all that. No, like every moment, especially with again social media, and
Right.
then when you've done a lot of work, you don't want to leave people in the dark. So
Mm,
sometimes you want to, hey, like, what are you dealing with over there? You know, and what's going on? Because I know if my thoughts are like that, I can only imagine what the next person is dealing with. So
yeah.
then you don't want to, you become that kind of person, but you can't save everybody. But if you could experience just a glimpse of peace of mind, that might be all it takes that day for that person.
Yeah. And sometimes to be fair, we're tired. Constantly generating that joy. It's energy. It takes energy, it takes work.
Yeah.
We talk about often on this show, it's called Project Joy for a reason. Like, we're
Yeah.
not always handed joy on a silver platter. Here you go. Like, go have a
Oh
great
yeah.
day. If we're not given it, sometimes we have to look real hard for it. And if we can't find it, sometimes we have to create it. And that's the whole process of joy. And sometimes we're just tired.
Yeah.
We're
And,
tired.
and that
It's
and
hard.
that joy, that all of that lives for me. What I'm learning is what's in the background.
Yeah.
So life is, for me, life is fun, exciting, but it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So who am I going to be when that danger shows up?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. That's
and
a good
that and
question to ask.
that dangerous can show up any time of the day.
Yeah.
At any time of the day, I could experience this as dangerous, and then I'm going to do that automatic response that I've learned as a child. That's going to be the first reaction to it. You take your hand off the
Mm,
stove when you touch it. Like, those are automatic responses.
right.
And we have that with people to make sure that we don't get violated, get invalidated,
Mm,
made wrong.
right.
So those are the automatic things. So if you to be able to recognize those has really helped me even become who I am today, because I have to pay attention to my behavior just as much as what's going on in the outside.
Right. Right. Well, we're going to backtrack a minute because I know some people are living under a rock and don't know who you are. And so um, I mentioned coming on that you're a veteran. How long did you serve for? And tell us a little bit about that.
24 years I served in the military. I've been retired. This year would be 9 years. And most recently, I recognized or realized at 19, I gave my life to death.
Mm,
And that is something that I'm peeling off those layers of those. I got 24 years of layers of military, right?
yeah.
And so getting to the root of it, um, another layer was, man, you gave your life to death,
Mm,
and you survived.
yeah.
And now what? And so, I've been on my spiritual journey, if I could say, working my relationship with Christ. Again, I came back, so I'm back at it again. And now you're looking at that for like your eternal life, right? So
Yeah.
it's like in your mind, you're like surviving life, but in your spirit, you want to live life, and those two battle one another. all day long. And
Yeah.
so aligning myself to my spiritual walk is now dealing with those thoughts, my humanness. And so recognizing that I gave my life to death, I could give my life to life now in this
Yeah.
part of my journey.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And we didn't even talk about that the last time you were on the show when we talked about your military career, just those layers of peeling off. I know my dad was in for 23 years and he's working on it too, and it's been a long a long journey
Oh,
for him as well, but he's definitely a different person now. Like I see him becoming a little bit softer as
hmm.
time goes on. When he was very militant before, and just a different person, and I see that change in him now, and it's really beautiful to kind of witness that butterfly journey. Brittany said 24 years, barely look over the see, I said the same thing.
Oh,
I said
thank
this
you.
man
Thank you.
lies to me on a regular basis.
Nobody believes I'm 52. Nobody believes I'm 52.
See, and I can't see. I'm sitting here like, how the hell is he 10 years older than me? I don't know. No, this is not. No, no. Good morning, Mandy. It's good to see you here today. Sharon said, thank you for your service. Nice to meet you and hearing your journey. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love it. And you've also you've been in radio a long time. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know what? I feel like a grandfather in this radio because I started in Blog Talk back in late 2009, 2010 from my laptop and my phone line,
Wow.
dialing into Blog Talk when it was free for 2 hours, and then it went you had to pay after it got popular, then you had to pay for it, then you only got 30 minutes free.
Yeah.
And it was like, and so when I look back and I'm like, this whole podcasting thing was not even called podcasting
Right.
12 years ago. It was internet radio. It was internet TV. And so when I'm gonna say this honestly for the first time, probably out loud, I get offended when somebody says I have a podcast. It sounds diminished. And I'm like, ugh, I don't have no podcast. What are you talking about? I'm on AM FM radio, baby. What are you talking about?
Listen,
Podcast.
I want to throw something. I'm trying to find something to throw. Get upset
So
about.
it's not just me.
It's not just you.
Okay,
It's not
thank
just
you.
you.
Thank you.
It's
I had
not
to get
just
it
you.
out.
Because here's the thing. You're on the radio. You're on the radio. It's a different. So I remember growing up and I loved radio. Oh my God. I would be on the one, like trying to win them tickets, and I would get my cassette tape ready, trying to wait for my, okay, I'm going to recall and request. This goes out to Michael, I like you so much. And, put the cassette in and I would record it. And if he didn't hear it, I would send it. I got the cassette and okay, I loved radio growing up. I love radio. And the people that were on the radio became like, at some of my most challenging times in life, became part of like my family. That would be like when I would wake up in the morning, that's who I would hear. I'd be coming home from school, that's who I would hear. And so, and then going into, what I do, I never, when I started out wanting to do something, I didn't want to do a podcast because I'm not into like somebody preaching to me for an hour. It's not my thing. And so I said, I want to do video because I loved talk shows when I was growing up too. We had Ricky and Sally Jesse and Oprah and like all of them back. Jenny Jones. I still have a memory in my head of when Ludacris first appeared on Jenny Jones. Like,
wow.
The most random things. Okay. And so like, I love that. And I wanted to do that. And now we have 9 shows as part of our network. And, it's amazing what's happening. But I told my hosts, and some of my hosts are out there watching right now. I said, listen, if I hear one more of you say, I just have a podcast, I'm going to say
okay.
I'm literally going to lose it.
I thought it was just me because me as well. I used to be on punishment so much that my mom, she thought she was doing damage by taking the TV away. I was waiting for songs to come on. I was waiting for Give Me the Night. I was waiting for the Stevie Wonder songs, the Brothers Johnson, all of it from 1580 K-Day back when it was rap. It's like all of that was like, that was my life. Like, and that's why my show is Music Marks a Place in Time, the soundtrack to life, because we all
Yeah.
have a song that when you hear it come on, it takes you back to that moment in time.
Yeah, for sure. And it makes you laugh in the most nostalgic kind of way. There was a song I had, the mixtapes were the things. If you got a
Oh yeah.
mixtape from your crush, that was like it. And I remember somebody giving me a mixtape and it had the song Sensitivity on it by
Oh, Ralph. Oh
and
yeah.
I'm like, we were 13. What the hell is this?
I listen to songs now like, what was a 8-year-old? I'm singing this stuff at 8 years old. Like, what was going on back then? Like, we had no reason to be thinking about a relationship at 7, 8, 9 years old. Singing about it either.
Candy girl.
All
Listen,
of
I
it.
can't.
All of it. Like, what was going on? But that's what we had though.
I can't.
That was our time.
It was it. Do you think let's talk about music for a minute, because do you think music's gotten worse over time, like lyrically and meaning, or do you think it was just as bad when we were little? And just maybe
It was just as bad
you think so?
because when I started driving, I was a subwoofer speakers, so
Yeah.
it was all about it was all of everlasting bass. It was nothing but the bass, right? So I really didn't pay attention to the lyrics. It was like, no,
Yeah.
I want to hear. But then as I got older, it was like, wait a minute, I was singing that? Like I was saying that? Like, oh, those metaphors were good back then.
Yeah.
They were
I feel like it's a
good
little
back.
more in your face now. Like people aren't beating around the bush with the lyrics now like they did back then. Like you listen to things that you're like, oh, I didn't get that then, but I get it now. And now it's just like,
Yeah, it's
wop.
yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. Now it's like in your face. I got a right to say what I want to say. My freedom
Yeah.
of speech is, and this is what I want to say about it. And I
Yeah.
drop that beat,
That's it. That's it.
and everything doesn't need a beat drop behind it either.
Thank you. Thank you for that as well. Tell us what have been some of your favorite moments in doing radio? Like what have been the things that have, changed you or been like your things that you remember? Like what have been some of your favorite things?
So I advocate for sickle cell trade and sickle cell, right?
Mm.
And my most, I guess, besides interviewing Dr. Sabi, my
Oh, yeah.
second most greatest interview was I was interviewing a sickle cell patient, and we were having the first half of the show was excellent. Like she's telling me her story. She was even talking about her grandmother, like all that stuff. And then I go to a break and come back, and she's crying. And I'm like, hello, hello, are you there? And she's crying, like bawling, crying. And I'm like, hello, hello, ma'am, are you there? She says, I just got a call. My grandmother just died. And I'm like, oh, so okay. Do you wanna, we can end the show, wrap the show? She's like, no, 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 no. You have created this space for me. Like, I still want to finish this interview. And so we shifted we kept on going. And my buddy who was engineering the show for me at the time, he was like, dude, you handled that like an expert. He was like,
Mhm.
you really had that lady feel at ease to continue to like another half an hour interview.
Yeah.
And I was
Wow.
like, yeah, but it was just, in that moment, listening to people. Like I said, if we really, once you get in touch with yourself, I'm not saying you got to be perfect about it, but once you are able to recognize it, you can recognize that in other people. And
Yeah.
I was new in the education that I had taken, so it was like fresh,
Mhm.
but I was able to, that was like, and she finished the interview with no tears. Like she was calm. She talked, she acknowledged her grandmother. We did all that, and we
Yeah.
wrapped up her interview with living with sickle cell.
Yeah.
And
That's
and she,
awesome.
she
Yeah.
and she did acknowledge me afterwards, but it was not for the acknowledgement, but it was like
Right.
I didn't know what to do. Like her
Yeah.
grandmother died while she was on the show, and we was just talking about her like 15 minutes ago,
Yeah.
of all the stuff that she did for her and took care of her.
That can be, that's probably, as much as I say it's a challenge with doing the live shows like this, it's also one of my favorite things. I love being able to just act in the moment and feel what needs to be felt. And there's also, maybe ask you about your experience with this, because I also asked Leanne Thompson and her husband JT. They do a morning show here in Alabama, and Leanne was on my show last year. And I asked them, because they had gone to a news station right when COVID hit, and like it was just this whole thing. Do you ever feel like when something happens, you're live on the air and something comes down the pike of this is what's going on? Like, do you ever feel a responsibility to cover it right then, stay on track? Like, what happens with your mindset at that time?
I realize I have to just go with whatever the thing is happening. It's live. Like you got to deal with the live. So I'm on AM/FM now, and something happened just a couple weeks ago that her call dropped. So I'm on the air, and you hear the dial tone like it's off, like beeping in the background, and my engineer walked away from the board. So I'm like, and I can't.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm like, and so I'm inside. I'm panicking, and then I have the phone lines in front of me. They're on the table, and so I'm looking at it, and I'm like, and I'm just trying to still continue my dialogue and doing and saying what I need to say. And it's like, okay, we got a little complicated technical difficulties right now. And then so I saw the line and I pressed the button and it stopped, and I was like, whew. And I'm on video, so it's also like on video too. And I'm like, and I was mad on the inside, but then again, this is what happens when you live. Anything is possible when you're live on the air, and so you have to be able to. And you know what? Really, if you tell the truth, because people are listening, people are watching. If we really just be honest and tell the truth, all that anxiety goes away. But it's the initial like, if I say that, they might not like me, or now they're not going to listen to my show. But the mistakes happen.
Yeah.
But it's how we recover, and matter of fact, that's how in that moment do you tell the truth, or do you just act like there's nothing going on?
Right.
And that's challenging for sure.
Yeah. And I think you have to know yourself too. Like we've had a couple instances on this show where somebody will mention something in the comments that had just come on the news or whatever. And I know how I process things. And I know that I'm going to need a minute with that before I comment. So I'll acknowledge it and be like, we'll talk about that tomorrow, or we'll, because I know that I know with whatever topic that is, I'm going to need a minute, or somebody's going to get their feelings hurt.
Yeah. Well, 90% of my shows, I would even say 98% of my shows are organic. Like, I don't even, unless the person really needs a set of questions, then I'll give them like 5 bullet points of what I'm going to cover. But 98% of the time, it's an interactive, and I'm listening to your answer. I'm listening to your tone of your voice. I'm listening to your choice of words, because that leads to a whole nother thing that's not on that paper. Right. And so I like to have my shows organic. So, and I don't do a lot of research on my guests either, because I want that organic. Are you serious? Like, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, like I read that already, but like I'm gonna ask you the question, so I'm gonna be surprised. Yeah, like no. So I do very little research. If they're in the field or the sport or whatever that I want, of course, I got an idea where I'm going to go with that conversation.
Yeah.
But 99% of my show is organic. So if something does go to the left, I'm not stuck to my script. Like, oh shoot, like the teleprompter froze, and it's like No.
Yeah. It's horrible to be, even when people ask me that are new to me, they're like, oh, can you suggest an episode that I should go watch? I'm like, not anything from season 1. Because I sure as hell had everything written down, and then when things didn't go my way, I'm like, Like it's just not good. Like I've come a long way in 4 years. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you, the grandfather from the Blog Talk era,
Uh,
I was depressed. My life was over. I was transitioning out of the service. My injuries had started to get worse.
mm,
And so my buddy said, "Hey, why don't you do a sports show or something to get your mind, occupy your mind or something?"
yeah.
So that's how I got into the Blog Talk. I was on an interview on the Blog Talk show. That's how I found it. And then
Mm,
when my friend suggested to do something, I'm like, okay. So I'm on this Blog Talk show, and I think it was from 7 to 9. So at 6 o'clock, I got some vodka and some cranberry juice, and I drank that. So by the time 7 o'clock hit, I was so buzzed that the
none
nervousness
of
was
matter.
gone. Yeah, it didn't matter. so, so I drank maybe like the first 6 months of my broadcasting. I drank to kill to take the edge off, as we say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
yeah.
That's what
And
happens.
I'm still nervous. I'm still nervous.
Yeah.
Like the first 5 or 10 minutes of the show, like I'm still
Mm,
nervous. And we equate that to being humble because I don't have it all figured out. Like,
yeah.
I'm not an expert. Like, but I still deal with that little. This is
Yeah.
my voice. Like I don't even like my voice. So like, what am I doing? And lastly on that subject, I'm gonna tell you this truth too. I haven't really told anybody outside of my family. Is I'm having a hard time now on the
Mm,
shows. My when my dad passed away,
mm,
I was
yeah.
I was in TV broadcasting school, and you know we make decisions in those moments of time to survive, right? To survive those pains. And I remember saying, like, I'm done. Like he died, like I'm done. And some of that stuff is still there. And what I recognize is, how can I be a broadcaster? How can I be interviewing people when a part of me is grieving and I don't want to talk to anybody today?
Right.
I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
So then I'm again my challenge today still is, how am I gonna continue this radio talk when there's moments I don't want to talk to anybody right now, and I
Yeah.
can't control when that happens, because that grieving process is, again, it shows up when it shows up. So
Right.
adding the music element to the show allowed me to, at least I have that to talk about, right?
Right.
If
Right.
if nothing else comes out of it, the person gets to share their life in their music, in their soundtrack to their life. So that keeps me on the edge, but it also, in the back of my mind, I have to remember to be present, because now I stopped asking some deep questions. Like
Mm,
I used to go in, like
yeah.
when they said a word, like one of those words that you know that there's something right there. I glaze over it now, and I recognize that that's not
Mm,
kind of person I was. So it's like, what is that? And oh man, like I don't want to talk to no, like I want to talk.
yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
dealing with that for me. That's where I'm at now.
Yeah. That's it brings up a couple things. One, I wanted to say about I mentioned I think yesterday or the day before, Monday, I mentioned Megan McGlover. Megan McGlover, I started following her on YouTube back in 2010. And she was doing these funny weather reports from Atlanta. And she would be like, it's snowing in where I'm in Georgia. Like it just was and it made me feel so good, because I had been I had just moved here to Alabama and was feeling some
Mm,
kind of way about being here.
hmm hmm
And it just made me feel good. She made me laugh. And then she just disappeared from everything. I had no
mm.
idea what happened, where she had gone. It turned out her mother had died,
Oh
and
wow.
her mother was murdered. It was a whole thing, and
Mm,
her those videos were that thing that her mother loved to see her do. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was like, I can't do this and have her not be here. There's no reason for me to do this anymore. So she took all of this time off. She really spent time like finding herself and everything else. And then I was so excited. I finally connected with her and got her to come on the show last
Oh
season.
wow.
And because I wanted to hear about all the things I had to cut. We probably talked 2.5 hours. I had to cut so much out of that episode.
Oh wow.
But like she and now she's back in streaming, and she's a big name. She's been on all of these. She's a political commentator now. Like she does all of this stuff
Mm.
that she wasn't doing before, but she had to go back and like do what you're talking about. Why have things changed? Like, is this something I need to be doing? And where do we go from here, if at all?
And so when you invited me to come, and
Yeah.
I told you like this might be my last interview. Like I'm at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna do it because a part of me felt like I need to. I have an opportunity to say what I need to say because this might be my last season,
Mm.
and so and being able to be okay with that because I had to. I didn't want to be the person, not right or wrong, about like my 10 years from now. Like I don't want to be 20 years from now. I miss my dad. Like I don't want to be that. Like I dealt with that with my grandmother. Took 10 years to realize one day that she was not here anymore. So when I took those grievance courses and all the education and my biblical principles now, like I have a better understanding of life and death, right?
Mm.
And so I had to catch how I talked about his passing. And I share that. First, now I realize that God permanently healed my dad. My dad is permanently healed, right?
Yeah.
And so speaking from that, I had to stop saying I miss my dad. For me, I had to stop saying it. I had to stop saying it that way.
Yeah.
Because when I said that I miss my dad, I wore it like a jacket. I wore that
Mm.
experience like a badge. And for me, when I do that, it's like the weight is now. I'm carrying that weight. I'm carrying that emotion. And then there were sometimes I don't miss him, but I still have the weight on. And it's like what is that? So I had to
Yeah.
check my language, and I started saying that I experienced missing my dad. So when I
Yeah.
experience missing my dad, I go cry, I go play music, I go do
Mm.
whatever I need to do. If it's 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever that
Yeah.
is, I go be I have to be with those emotions so that when I can release them, I can get back to my life.
Mm.
And that was the struggle. I started to get depressed again. I killed off relationships. Like because I had an attitude and didn't even realize I had an attitude. Like I said, I was grieving and I was destroying relationships around me, sabotaging, and I didn't understand it until I caught that, and it was like, oh shoot, the last 2.5 years, how did I even, what was I even doing to people or saying to people? And so
Right.
recognizing that, I had to self-examine, and permanently, my dad is permanently healed. Boom. That's a biblical spiritual standpoint
Yeah.
for me, and so I got that. I understand that this is not the last destination. This is, we're here for a purpose. We're born for a reason. We die for a reason. Like when I accepted that views of myself, like okay, I'm I experienced missing him a lot, a
Mm.
lot, a lot.
Yeah.
And now when I talk, even with my grandson, it's not even my word, it's my dad. Like
Yeah.
that's what my dad would say. So it made me think about this whole grieving conversation that we all, whether it's my dog, putting my dog down in January, my grandfather passing in 2020, like that whole grieving conversation made me realize that maybe that's why people are on the edge so much.
Mm.
Could it be that they're dealing with so much stuff that you fire off of upset with people because you're really hurting?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shoot, that made me think about a whole nother conversation from another perspective. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so do I do that on the radio now, or do I do that in person? Like, do I create this place where having this grieving conversation, because I recognize how I was damaging myself and people, that, and we all experience some type of grief.
Yeah.
Like nobody escapes that. But could we be wearing that? And that could be a defense of letting people get close. Because then it was like, well, I don't want to get close to anybody anymore. Like I'm looking at my own mortality, like how much time I got left, like all that stuff comes with that grieving. And so it's like, but I believe I have some strength in it. And
Right.
if I'm dealing with it that way, what is the next person next to me? And so when I did some research, I saw that for a parent, the most one of the number one grieving is the parent who loses the child,
Yep.
and then it's the child who loses the parent. So I'm like, that's that's a lot. And so I see that could be something going on in the background of our life that we don't address because we carry that a lot.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you sharing all of that because I think everybody in the comments this whole time has been talking about how, that grief experience is different for everybody and you kind of just have to process it in the way that you do. Mandy mentioned once I got the download, be the woman I didn't get to be, and something in me just switched. Instead of being sad, I turned it into my craft. And I think that's
exactly.
sort of what happened with me in my grief journey as well, even from the get-go, because I walked in the room when my brother took his last breath. Like
Mm,
literally I was there. And I remember it being this whole moment of I kind of just plopped into the chair and I watched the movie reel of my whole life go by in my
mm,
head. It was like what people talk about, watching your life
mm-hmm,
flash, but that's what was happening. And then I sat there and I'm like, who the hell are you? And then I'm like,
mm.
now I'm feeling guilty because my brother just died right in front of my face
Thank
and I'm
you.
not thinking of him.
Yes.
And now I've got all of these things
Exactly.
going on. And it's
Exactly.
like, no, like this is a wake up call for me to change my life. And now we're in this really interesting place because we just sold our house here and we're moving back to Connecticut, and our house that we're getting is, yes, we're on the move. The house that we are getting is very close to where my brother's buried. And
Oh.
through that, um you know, there's been moments where I'm like, this is nice because there's not that many people back home anymore. Nobody's putting flowers anymore. No, so I'll get to do that.
Mm,
I'll get to do that, which
exactly.
will be nice. And my kids, my youngest babies, never met him, and so like they'll get to go, and I'll get to tell stories, and it'll be this fun
Exactly.
thing. But it's like, does me being it's had this whole conversation with my husband, does me being back there mean that I'm wanting to go wallow in it now? No, like that's not, no. That's not.
Because honestly,
Yeah,
he's not there. That's where his plot is, but
he's
he's
been
not
here
there.
the whole time. Like I talk to him every
Exactly.
day. I don't need to go sit at his grave to do
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. So those are, again, so when you talk
Yeah,
about Project Joy,
yeah,
what is the root, right? So there's
yeah,
things that we got to go and deal with to create this Project Joy, and you've
yeah,
got to address some of those things that are deep down so you can let it go,
yeah,
and realizing that it could nurture that joy. It could be a space to come from. Because
right.
and I think my radio stuff is also connected to my dad, because we were going to do shows together. I
Yeah,
had created this show called Wordplay, and we had the music and we had the word, and he picked his 2 words, I picked my 2 words, and we went back and forth on why that word and what song. And that was our next project. Like that was the project we were going to do together.
yeah,
And then he's not here.
right.
And I'm like, oh shoot. And then when I watched that show back, I was like, this dude was amazing. Like
Mm,
this dude he showed me how to live a sinless life.
mm,
And that's sinless. You deal with what you're
yeah,
dealing with, but you take that stuff and you give it to God, and you leave it there, and you constantly work at it. And that's what my dad did. Like he showed me, like like that dude was amazing. And like I said, now when I talk or when I'm say something, I recognize his voice. So I'm thinking like I wonder if other people are dealing with that. Like I wonder if people recognize that their parents are, those words are now coming out. Those words of wisdom are now coming out, and you might have some resentment, some regret.
right.
Like so now it's like you're constantly reminded of that, and I'm like, man, there's got to be something to that. Like it's got to
Yeah,
be a conversation that's missing, and how can I help not tell people, but help them discover like what
Right.
could be that one thing about that parent. And so that's child to parent relationship has but has moved a little ahead of my sickle cell trait talk,
Yeah.
because that's my gift from God. I was born with that gene. So I could tell that story in my introduction of who I am and what I'm up to. And those that are interested in sickle cell trait will reach out to me, and those who are not won't. But now who do I get to be when I show up as a person, right? And that person is where that conversation about human connection in life, for across the board. And so I'm looking at that son to father relationship, because that's my journey, my testimony,
Right.
and then that son to mother relationship, because those are the first lines of our communication. The two most important people in our life is our parents, and then because I'm a father of three daughters, I can address the father to daughter conversation, because I had to do this same work with my daughters and allow them to heal in their way back to me, because
Right.
I did what I did because I thought that's how you raise your children, to
Yep.
my daughters, which was not obviously was my own version of what my parents did, my experience.
Don't you like how we say, I'm never going to be like them, and then we just
Oh,
be them?
exactly. And when you recognize your version of them, it's like, oh shoot, that was the same thing that my mom did,
Uh-huh.
and the same thing that my dad, but in my own version of it, and you get the result. It's the same result on the other end. So that really has been my conversation on how to shift what I'm up to, and because again, for me, the man is the father is the foundation of the house, and no one goes home when they pull up in their driveway and say, "Oh, look how great that foundation is! Oh, why? Look at that! Look at how strong the foundation!
Yeah.
I wonder what they built down." No, they don't do that. So, as a father, when you recognize that you're the foundation of that family, that you're built to hold up whatever's going on. Even if you didn't have a role model, if you didn't have your father, or you maybe even had your father, but he wasn't that kind of father that showed you how to nurture and source you as a child, or if your views are corrupted of your father, you won't even recognize him sourcing you or taking
Right.
care of you, right? Because you look at it from another perception. So it doesn't matter if you have both parents. It doesn't matter if you have one parent or a grandmother. It's the person who sources you, gives you the ability to figure out what your life is. But if we don't tell the truth about our history, if we don't tell the truth about what's going on in the relationships of our parents and why they are not together or whatever, if we don't tell that child the truth, that child's going to make up their own story about the relationship. And now that becomes my truth. So now you got to try to tell me what's really going on, but I've already made up my story about this relationship as a son.
Right.
But y'all had this whole other conversation going on that you left me out of it. Oh, well, he's 5, he's 8, he doesn't understand. You better believe I may not understand, but I'm definitely going to make it mean something.
Right.
And it's going to make it mean about myself first. Like, how come I couldn't keep this marriage together? How come I couldn't? What did I do wrong? Did I make them get divorced when I was born? Like, so as a parent, we don't realize that sometimes we disappoint our children just the same. And
Right.
because I'm the parent and you're the child, you just do what I say. That control by dominance doesn't work anymore.
And we were talking about this the other day, nobody prepares you as a parent for that. No one prepares you as a parent for feeling like you've completely let your kids down.
Exactly.
And I'll say this too really quickly. I'm so glad that you're having these conversations now, because I really feel like you said, whether you have both your parents, one parent, an auntie, your grandma, whoever, I'm glad you're having these conversations, because there's so much healing that needs to happen, even if they're gone and it's just in our head, that needs to happen. And your posts about this have triggered me in the best kind of way. And I'm sitting here I'm
you.
trying not to lose my stuff here on the air this morning because I'm very emotional about this right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm, my oldest is moving out. A lot. It's not something I've even talked about recently, but he's moving across the country in a little over a week. And this
Wow.
is my first flying. Like I'm feeling some kind of way right now, and I'm not doing this today. People, go ahead. You keep talking, Farron, because I just need a minute.
No, and so because we don't have those things naturally. Every man is not naturally a father. Every father is not naturally a parent. So those are roles. Those are roles that we take on. So now you got to go and figure out, okay, how am I going to learn about being a better parent? Or just how am I going to learn about being a parent? Don't even worry about being a better parent. Just go learn about how to be a parent. And so you've got to figure out what those resources, what is that? What are the principles, the framework that you're going to build this relationship off with your children? And for me, watching TV and movies and all that, that's fantasy. That's not real life. It looks good, but that's not real life. So you have to figure out in your real life, what are the foundation skills? What are the communication skills that's going to work? Because if you don't listen to that child, it's going to become rebellion. And that child's going to tell you, you're not listening to me. And when that break happens between the parents and the child, we're going to go to our peers. And that peer we know what that is. It's all corrupted in trial and error. Yeah. Right. And so it's how do we, as parents, recognize that, get some education, acknowledge, hey, have I ever disappointed you? Like, really? And I had to do that with my daughter, like each one. And man, oh no, you're going to listen to this. And I'm like, ugh. But I created the space though. I said, look, I'm going to tell me I want you to say what's on your mind. I'm not going to defend what you say. I'm not going to try to make it wrong what you say. I want to know, have I ever disappointed you? And each one went down the line and they looked in their mind, in their heart, and whatever came out. But there was this point in that conversation that there was no more stuff to pull from. That they were able to say all this damaging things that their experience of me.
Right.
So at that point, I was like, okay, so now what?
Right.
And I thank you for that. And I didn't apologize. I said, please forgive me. And this is who I say I'm going to be today. I'm going to improve on my being a father. Like I wasn't a parent. I was a father. I did relationship maintenance. You got money? How's school? How's that? You're there.
Get out.
Don't do that. My mama called me about this. Go over here. Don't do that. That's relationship maintenance. That wasn't sourcing the child. I wasn't there emotionally. Yeah. But I didn't know that because that's how I was raised. So I didn't have any emotional support. So it's like, oh, that's how it is. That's how my dad. I'll deal with it when they get older. You do not want to deal with it when they get older. That's what I said.
You do not want to deal with it when they get older. Are you taking notes?
You do not want to deal with that. But that was my conversation to myself. I'll deal with it when they get older because I dealt with it when I got older.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, some of my friends have younger kids, and they're in that. Oh my God, they won't stop like fussing and having it. I'm like, you better just enjoy the tantrums now, because it doesn't get easier when they're 21. No.
And I have a grandson and granddaughter now. So my grandson is 3. And I'm like, before he just started really talking, and they're like, oh, he's not talking. He might be on the autism spectrum. I was like, that boy is 2.5 years old. Y'all need some patience is what you need. It ain't nothing.
My brother said nothing except the word chicken until he was 5 years old. There's nothing wrong. And now he's a welder making more money than I am. He need to calm down.
And I told him, like, you better embrace him not talking because as soon as he starts talking, he'll be a snitch.
That's it. Because he knows he's been listening this whole time.
Thank you. He's been listening this whole time. And now those words come out now. And he'd be like, Mama did this. Mama ate the cookie. Mama. I'm like, oh, you can't roll with me. You're going to be a snitch.
That's it. That's it. Well, listen. I'm so glad that we got a chance to sit down and have some of these much needed conversations today, Farron. And I know, listen, everybody's been going on and on in the comments. Mandy said he's going to be a wise man. Yes, that's exactly it. And I love it. So I know things are kind of like you're mulling things over right now. What's going to happen? But tell people where they can find you if they want to connect with you.
So FarronD.com has all of my community outreach stuff on it, and it all connects to the other platforms. I own an ABA basketball team now, so I have to put on this owner's hat on and start to develop my team. So yeah, being an owner of a basketball team is, but that platform is going to encompass all of my conversations and the community work as well. So that's I got to build that up next, and also figure out this radio conversation. But FarronD.com has everything that'll lead you to my sickle cell trait awareness. It'll lead you to the speakings that I do at church now about, my walk and the biblical principles that I follow. It takes you to all the radio programs and all the stations and all that. So I got like 3 shows. I'm on Dash Radio on Sundays, playing Christian hip hop and doing talks over there. And so
I love it. Listen, one of my concerts I went to with the kids, it was the last concert I went to. I think we went and saw KJ52, who's amazing in the Christian hip hop world. And he came out afterwards and met everybody, and he had these glasses that he passed around. We all got these glasses with the like, they're not really glasses. They're like, you could barely see through them. So but they were like the cool thing everybody had. And so that I love, even though I'm not, I don't consider myself religious or anything. I love Christian music. I think it's good.
And that's the battle. That's the battle I'm in right now, is not making it religious or religion, that it's a relationship, because I walked away from church, at 21.
Right.
And starting to find my way back. And I had to talk with my mom, like, I feel like that 21-year-old kid again, because I feel like I gotta do it. And she's like, no. It isn't. It's a relationship. And you gotta grab those thoughts, because those thoughts will always or still be there, and they could take you off track. So it's definitely for me a relationship. I'm not religious. It's not about religion. It's about that spiritual journey. And that's, your spirit's gonna look for something. It's going to look for tarot cards or zodiac signs or whatever. So if you recognize that, you gotta feed that. And so it's not for me to tell you what's right or wrong, because it's not for me to judge. But I can just tell you where I got my strength from, and it's those principles.
I love that. Well, that's one of the things that I've loved about you since I met you is like you're very good about sharing who you are and what you believe in, and you're not wagging a finger at anybody. You're just saying, look, this is where I am, and you can come hang out and hear about it, or you're not. That's totally fine too.
I learned I'm the biggest jerk in the room.
Yeah.
So if I'm the biggest jerk in the room, you can't out jerk me. So you get the space to be yourself, and we all just be jerks in the room. But I'm the biggest jerk, so there's nothing wrong. Like, it's a practice though. I didn't just get there. Like, it took a lot of talking to myself and recognizing my own behavior. And I'm like, okay, I'll be the biggest jerk, because I know how I could be.
Yeah.
So if I could be like that, I know that the next person could be like, you got your view of that as well. So you're not, you don't have to be
perfect. You're not, none of us are perfect. It reminds me of that old lady that came on Ellen that one time that was like, I love Jesus, but I drink a little. It reminds me of that, because look, I have a shirt with a girl that's meditating, and it says, I'm a little peace, love. I'm peace, love, light, and a little go yourself. Listen, we've all got some of that going on.
You got to own it. You got to own it. And the joy, the good part of it is that's what people want to see, that, because it makes it allows them to see the real you, not the pretend I'm this and I'm the. No, we all could tell when the person's pretending that you're pretending.
Yep.
And people want authenticity, and it's great to be inauthentic. Be authentic where you're inauthentic at.
Yeah.
But it takes courage. It takes a way of being. It's not natural. Like it in those spaces, it takes courage. It takes confidence. It takes a way of being that's not a normal way to be, to
Right.
push through that and then realize on the other side of that, man, people just want to know the real you.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't even know who the real me is. So how can I expect you to know who I am when I don't even know the real me?
I just tell people, look, I'm on a journey here. You want to come ride with me? That we'll share the, I'm picking what's on the radio, but you could come ride with me. Good. Brittany said we love the real over here. That's it. That's all.
That's
all
it.
we
Exactly.
do here.
That's all we want. That's what really people want is
Yeah.
that real.
Yeah. 100%. Well, listen, this has been a lot of fun. If this is your last one that you do, I'm honored, and because anytime you're on, we have a good time, and I appreciate you. And, I hope if it's your last one maybe it'll just be a last one for a while, and then we'll pull you out of retirement. And then
I got the microphone and headphone tattoos on my arms. That ain't going nowhere.
It's there. It's there no matter what. It's there.
Yeah, it's not going nowhere.
Do you
it
have
might look
anything...
a little different.
Right.
It might look a little different. That's all.
Yeah. Do you have anything? So at the end of the show, we celebrate birthdays, talk about nationally. Anything you're celebrating today, Farron, or anybody that's celebrating?
My daughter scored her job. My youngest daughter, she's a pharmacy tech. So that is my joy because she got a job, and so we're just gonna celebrate that for sure.
Congratulations.
So, yes. And the world as it is. And the good. I'm like, oh, you coming out of the gate making that much? Okay. And so she's excited. It's like, okay, cool, let's do it. I got you.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations to her. If you don't have anything you're celebrating today, it is National Almond Butter Crunch Day. And I had never heard about this treat, but it looks good. And now I'm hungry. So it's also National Camera Day. Take a photo today. You remember when we had the the disposable cameras, and
you better know you roll it, and it was about that long.
I can't tell you how many times you do that, and you'd be so excited. You go to the mall because like your favorite character from 90210 is going to be there, and you take all these pictures, and then you go to CVS, and then it comes back, and you literally have one picture that came out, and it's like this. That's it. I have PTSD.
You did not know. You did not, and you're like, it is like that long.
I can't. That's the part of the nostalgia in me that is scarred for life from those moments. And now we had
a good era. We had a good era.
We did, but now we're like, now we have the fancy, thing on here, and we're like, okay, oh no, that's not right. Just no, just scoot over a little, and then we, 5 years to take one picture because we have a cell phone now.
Exactly.
It's not good. It's not good. But it's National Camera Day. Take a photo. Also, it's National Waffle Iron Day. I love some waffles now.
What?
And it is National Parchment Day. If you didn't have an appreciation for parchment paper today, may you find one today.
You're taking me back to elementary school.
I know. All right. Also for birthdays today in the celebrity world, Gary Busey's birthday is today. Actor, he's a piece of work, that one. And Nicole Scherzinger from the Pussycat Dolls' birthday is today. Happy birthday, Nicole. And we have 2 Breakthrough alumni who have birthday today. The celebrities in my life. Chris Howitt, magician Chris Howitt's birthday is today. And also Sally Lucian's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Sally. So what we do now, Farron, is we're going to do our drum roll and we're going to sing the song. Are you going to sing with me?
What song is it?
Happy birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Drum roll, please. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Get ready. Nicole Scherzinger, Gary Busey, Chris Howitt, and Sally Lucian. Happy birthday to you. Yes, that was the most epic one yet. You guys didn't even know what you were in for today. Thank you so Thank you so much, Farron, for being here
Thank
today.
you.
I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you.
Jessica, for having me. I appreciate your show, and I look forward to checking you out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Don't forget today, tonight, you guys, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, an all new episode of Divine DNA with the Jacksons. They are having the King's Court this evening. The King's Court. The guys are getting together to talk about lots of things, so don't forget to tune in for that. And I'll be back tomorrow with Loren Michaels Harris, and he is bringing his bathrobe and his bell of purpose. So get ready for that tomorrow.
Oh, that's the way to do an interview, huh?
It is.
That's a Zoom interview. That's a Zoom interview now. Where's my luxurious bathrobe? We'll put that on for the meeting tonight.
Listen, his show's called Bathrobe Moments. And I had the pleasure of coming on his show in my bathrobe 2 birthdays ago.
What?
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So tune in tomorrow for that. Farron, thank you again for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank all of you for watching or listening wherever you are in the world. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and we'll see you tomorrow. Make joy a priority in your life today and every day. Bye, guys.
Bye.
You've been tuned in to Project Joy Live with Jessica Dugas, your weekday morning talk show, inviting you to start your day with a triple shot of good vibes only on the Breakthrough Show Network. Binge all past episodes of Project Joy at projectjoypodcast.com. Until next time, help us spread the joy by sharing this episode, and we'll see you soon.